Hello, and today we'll continue with Temptations Ballad. Well, we better get back to our seats before someone takes them. You coming, boss? Cole was staring out into the sea of people in the viewing booths with an apprehensive expression. Hmm? Oh, sorry, I think it's actually time for me to go. Sid blinked in surprise. Go where? The tournament is about to start. Are you going to stay and watch? Cole shook his head firmly. Afraid I can't. There's something important I have to do before the brawl begins. Sid showed a slump. So you won't be watching me fight? Unfortunately, sorry, I won't get to watch you kick ass out there. I know you'll do great though. A big guy like you with Clyde's masterwork weapon, I doubt anyone will stand a chance against you. If you say so. Sid yelled as Cole suddenly leaned forward and planted a firm kiss on his cheek. A warm wave of calm washed over him as Cole's bordered inspiration filled his body with arcane strength. It felt like a firm, loving hug in spell form. Keep your chin up, alright? You're my lackey. Go show people what it means to mess with our little adventuring party. Despite the dreadful lull that weighed over Sid's shoulders, the edge of his lips twisted into a small smile. I'll do my best. It's the least I can do. Good luck on whatever you're off to work on, boss. Cole shrugged. No rest for the wicked. I'll see you after the tournament ends, buddy. Alright, let's get back on track. The first round of the Firefly Festival jousting tournament is about to begin. Are our honorable participants ready? The crowd's cheers shook the stadium as everyone looked on in anticipation. Ormond shuffled in place and gripped her jousting lance tightly. On the other side of the field, Calder ostensibly rode into position on top of a handsomely pampered feral horse. The steed looked in excellent health and was clearly especially cared for, typical of what one might expect from a noble. Despite his bruised face and slightly bleeding nose, Calder managed to look down on Ormond with an air of superiority. What is the matter, my dear chosen one? It appears you are not in possession of a steed. How do you expect to joust without one? What? Do you intend to run at me like some beast of burden? If you are in need of a horse, just ask. I'm sure the generosity of House Ascendancy will be happy to accommodate you. Ormond adjusted the handle of her lance coldly. I respectfully decline. Need I remind you that I am a paladin? Perhaps it is best that you worry about yourself as you always do. Calder scoffed and steered his feral horse into position. Suit yourself. I look forward to the praise of grandfather will grant me once I best the creator chosen in a joust. Ormond silently made a mental note to apologize to Cole for the grief she had given him for his vices. She had no idea that there existed someone far worse. Cole appeared like an absolute paragon in comparison. She was going to take great pleasure in knocking Calder off his high horse. Ormond turned towards Sid's direction with her lance held high. I dedicate this match to my dear friend, Sid Shrikewood. May this set an example to all who dare insult my companion in arms. From the viewing booth, Sid visited nervously as he watched the very horseless knight proclaim loudly to the crowd. Thanks, Hardy, but maybe we shouldn't count our chickens before they hatch. The shrill voice of the festival announcer suddenly pierced the stadium ear once more. Get in position. Now, may the joust begin. Calder's horse immediately danced forward and made a mad gallop towards Ormond, lance pointing forward. Ormond was unfazed. The crowd watched in utter confusion as he crouched down on the grass like a predator posed to strike. What in the world are you doing? Get in here. The crowd's watching utter confusion as he crouched down on the grass like a predator.
Playing. Pause.
Barnaby was. The crowd's watching utter confusion as he crouched down on the grass like a predator posed to strike. What in the world are you doing? Oh well. There I suppose. I would be happy to take this easy win. Barnaby smirked. Suddenly she launched herself forward, arms outstretched. Lightning danced from the palm of her hand like long, furious rains. Cold steep. The metallic smell of ozone filled the air. The brilliant blaze of lightning hurt to look at as ornament in her steed rushed forward, lance at the ready. Grass singed and burned below them. Showers of sparks glinted off her armor as he flew toward Calder at light speed. Wait. I yield. What? I can't hear you. It's too bright in here. Moments before the two horses collided, the arena was consumed in a burst of blinding celestial light. Everyone in the audience shielded their eyes. No one could see what was happening. After a beat, the light slowly faded away to reveal what remained of the joust. Calder was curled up in a fetal position on the grass, his horse fleeing the scene in a terrified sprint. Barnaby's celestial steed had disappeared as well. She stood over Calder's prone body, gingerly poking him with her lance like one might poke roadkill to test if it was still alive. Come on, stop overreacting. It wasn't that bad. I almost died. Surely this has to be against the rules. This was an intended murder. You leaped off your horse and began sobbing on the ground before I could even reach you. Where's your competitive spirit? I came here to joust in a tournament, not to babysit fighting children. Come on, get back on your steed. We're doing this again. The festival announced a bewildered voice sounded across the arena. Well, according to the rules, Sir Calder had proclaimed his surrender after yielding to you. But wait, nobody said anything about summoning your own steed in this competition. Surely the chosen is disqualified that one. Well, Lady Osmia quietly cleared her throat. There are currently no rules pertaining to what type of horse participants may ride in a jousting tournament. Despite its celestial and summoned nature, Lady Osmia's steed was still a horse that still falls within the tournament's parameters. Listen to outrage. He tried to kill me. You should learn to take defeat with grace. This is a jousting tournament. Having lances pointed your way should be expected. Barnaby turned towards Sid's viewing booth with a grin. Did you see that, Sir Sid? Your honor has been avenged. Sid scratched his head as he looked at Calder prone and sobbing on the burnt, grassy floor. I mean, the guy was an asshole, but I think you guys broke him. Barnaby waved her lance in the air and laughed with glee. I never expected this tournament to be such fun. It feels nice to finally let loose for once. Dear announcer, who will I face off against next? The sound of furiously rustling parchment and nervous whispers filled the air. After a beat, the festival announcer faced the audience with a hint of despair. Well, about that, Barnaby blinked. Is something the matter? All the other joust participants had just surrendered their spots in the tournament. That means our winner will automatically go to you, Barnaby Johanna Gontier. No one clapped through the sea of confused looks. Barnaby gaped up at the viewing tower with dismay. But what? Just like that? What about the competition? We're here to joust, are we not? The festival announcer cleared his throat nervously. I don't know how else to break it to you, but nobody here wants to face off against the creator's chosen and her giant lightning horse. Disappointment and bewilderment spread across Audrey's face as she looked around the arena. Wait, did I ruin the tournament? Sorry if I got carried away. I didn't mean to. Yes, you did. Why can't you people ever stick to the schedule? First the queen had to fucking die, and then nobody wanted to take the damn organizer job. And then this uncultured druid just waltzes in to replace my boss. And then you folks just had to host a duel and then summon a giant glowing horse, didn't you? I don't get paid nearly enough for it. There was a pause and a brief scuffle up at the viewing towers. After a beat, Lady Osmia pulled her head out towards the crowd. This concludes the Firefly Festival Jousting Tournament. Thank you to all who participated. Please remain patient while we set up the Brawling Tournament. It's a take bum moment. Audrey returned to their viewing booth to find it utterly empty. Her post-jousting excitement popped like a balloon, and she glanced around for her friends. Where did Sir Sid and Cole go? I hope they managed to watch my jousting match despite how quick it was. Oh, there you are. Welcome back. What a thrill you were in the arena. That was worth the price of tickets alone. Audrey perked up to see Agatha beaming at her from the back of the booth. The old bat clapped her hands with a giddy laugh. So that's the power this creator's chosen. Truly impressive. Oh, thank you, ma'am. You flatter me. Have you seen my friends anywhere? Your friends? The Bonebreaker boys snuck off before your joust began, and the buff badger ran off towards the western wing to prepare for his brawling match. Audrey's shoulders sag. They both left without a word. Of course, Cole would leave you even watching my joust. Of course, Cole would leave before even watching my joust. But I hope Sir Sid is feeling better at the very least. We can rest assured that the Calder fellow will bother him no longer. Agatha wiped her glasses with a sympathetic frown. Well, I can't fault the Ascendancy boy too much. He's a perfect model of the nobility's obsession with status and power. House Ascendancy built their entire relevance off of destroying for their family bloodline. There were rumors that they were willing to put their children through risky experiments to increase their magical potential. Alas, all Gaia's Ascendancy's children are gone now. All that's left is Calder, his sole grandchild, and the boy's magical strength is mediocre at best. I can't imagine the pressure he's under. Agatha sighed and shook her head wearily. Children should not be made and used for the selfish wants of their parents. Audrey bit her lip thoughtfully. I suppose I can sympathize with his situation. However, none of this excuses his cruel actions towards my friends. Our decisions are wholly our own. We must take responsibility for them. Spoken like a true knight in the church. However, you must concede that the way a person is raised will undoubtedly affect their values and decisions. Agatha's eyes narrowed. You would know this personally, wouldn't you? Huh? Just an observation, dear. If you would forgive my secular mindset, I've never put much stock in this whole chosen one hubbub. Ought to be visited uncomfortably under the bat's steely gaze. There's a large section of the scientific community who believe that the creator's chosen is a naturally occurring phenomenon. I personally, oh, our decisions are wholly our own. We must take responsibility for them. Spoken like a true knight of the church. However, you must concede that the way a person is raised will undoubtedly affect their values and decisions. Agatha's eyes narrowed. You would know this personally, wouldn't you? Huh? Just an observation, dear. If you would forgive my secular mindset, I've never put much stock into this whole chosen one hubbub, or to be visited uncomfortably under the bat's steely gaze. There is a large section of the scientific community who believe that the greatest chosen is a naturally occurring phenomenon. I personally theorize that it is a property of how celestial energy reacts to living organisms. Of course, the church is quick to brush off our research, but it is a sentiment shared by many. If we take this so-called creator out of the equation, I can't help thinking as I look upon you, dear chosen one. Agatha's glasses twinkled with a fascinated grin. All that white celestial energy, how might it be harnessed? And has it even been wrongfully manipulated in the past? Arby felt an uncomfortable lump grow in her throat. She frowned at the Arcanist as he struggled to swallow it back down. I respect our difference in viewpoint, ma'am. However, I have faith that the Creator has a plan for us yet. We should not bestow her blessing upon those who are not fit to wield it. I see. I hope for your sake that you are correct. The conversation was interrupted by a small knock on the side of their booth. A little servant popped their head in and saluted nervously at Autumn. Hello. Sorry to interrupt, Lady Gantier, but I'm bringing a message for you. Lady Osmia would like to speak with you regarding your boon. The boon you won from the jousting tournament. Lady Osmia bids you meet her in the eastern meeting tower at your earliest convenience. I see. I will go at once. She turned towards Agatha with a small bow. I must be off. Apologies for the sudden departure. Nay, thank you for humoring this old woman's thoughts. I look forward to witnessing your future endeavors, Autumn Gantier. Autumn made her way up to the viewing tower with shaky steps. This would be her first time speaking to a noble. Counter doesn't count. All of Cole's warnings about her importance and mannerisms came flooding back to her. She hoped to the heavens that she did not mess this up. One glance into the tower revealed a mostly empty viewing area, much to her relief. Maybe most of the nobles were on a lunch break or something. I see you have arrived. Greetings, my lady. I'm at your service. Barnaby attempted a clumsy curtsy that resulted in a uncomfortable metallic clank off her armor. She quickly opted to give a nervous bow instead. It is an honor to be in your company, Lady Osmia. The noblewoman waved her hand dismissively. No need to be so formal. I was raised in a much more mundane lifestyle than most city nobles. Please call me Maeve. Though her expression was unreadable behind her veil, Maeve's eyes softened with an amused smile. There's no need to look so nervous. One would think I've just sentenced you to a horrible fate. Apologies, I've just never spoken to a noble like you before, my lady. And I have yet to honor to speak with the creator chosen herself. And it's wonderful to finally meet you, Lady Gantier. Huh? Armies felt her blood pressure spike as Lady Osmia bowed deeply towards her. She had never been on the receiving end of this before. Her mind completely blanked as she struggled to find a response. Please, there's no need to be so formal. I'm undeserving in such regard. Lady Osmia chuckled. Autumn smiled. Autumn felt strangely self-conscious in her presence. My, you're as humble as they say. It is a breath of fresh air after my dealings with all these self-important city nobles. And I'm glad you are the one to win the jousting tournament instead of the abrasive austerity fellow. As a victor, House Osmia will be happy to grant you whatever boon you desire. Now tell me, friend, what do you wish? Autumn paused, scratching her head as she pondered. Honestly, she had completely forgotten about the boon in all the chaos. Was there anything she particularly desired? No, it's best to use this boon to help her current mission. All personal wishes will have to come second. I suppose I would like to request House Osmia's aid with my current task as a church knight. My mission is to help locate four missing rubies for Prince Cassius. These jewels are incredibly valuable and must be found as soon as possible. House Osmia must have a wide network of allies both within the city and in the exterior, yes? Your help will greatly increase our chances of success. Lady Osmia's eyes narrowed, her veil ruffling with a tiny scowl. House Osmia's allies within the city walls are usually less than eager to aid us, but I will do my best. Four missing rubies, you say? Her eyes scanned over an ornament with a familiar, appraising manner. I had imagined the greatest chosen as someone who utterly labors to aid the person under her care. To hear that she is instead a lapdog fastened to Prince's missing jewelry, well, forgive my frankness, but I find myself slightly disappointed. You are mistaken, my lady. Artemis visited nervously. We believe these rubies are likely arcane and dangerous in the wrong hands. In fact, we have run into one such villain who succeeded in stealing two of them. As a church knight, it is my duty to ensure these rubies are safely returned to their rightful place. The noble's ears twitched. She scratched her chin thoughtfully. Arcane and dangerous, you say? Why would the royal family need such crystals? Very well. You can rest assured that House Osmia will do our utmost to aid your cause. Lady Osmia felt quiet for several moments. In the meantime, might I ask you for a small favor of my own? I happen to be working on a little mission of my own. Our interests may align and the future partnership may be mutually beneficial. Really? What is the nature of your mission? The noble let out a deep breath. House Osmia's aim in hosting the Firefly Festival is twofold. First is to establish allies within the city walls. Unfortunately, the vast majority of the avian nobles of the Axian nobles view us as druid savages from the exterior. Conducting business within the city has been more difficult than it should be. Okay, so I meant to say this in the last video, but about Maeve, the nobility don't consider her to be one of them because she comes from druids, which kind of like the farmers, and the nobility kind of look down on farmers, so they don't really consider her to be one of them. So, and the announcer guy, he called her basically an uncultured druid. So, secondly, we're aiming to investigate the origins of this fainting phenomenon that's been appearing within the city. Ormond blinked. The fainting phenomenon. I've heard Cole and Sir West mumble about it in passing. Maeve nodded, her eyes narrowed to deadly slits. I have a personal interest in this case. This situation is most peculiar. Masses of people passing out on the streets as though they have been drained of life. It sounds eerily similar to the victims of the Locust famine from a decade ago, though to a much less fatal degree. I believe that this fainting phenomenon may be connected to the tragedy that wiped out my family so many years ago. Or better yet, these two incidents may share the same perpetrator. Barnaby's brow furrowed as he pondered the noblewoman's words. I don't understand. I thought the Lucas family was a natural disaster of sorts. Maeve's face fell, fluttered as he let out a deep, frustrated sigh. Did the church say that? Contrary to popular belief, the druids of the exterior are not so defenseless against nature's wrath. Our people have lived in harmony with the land and will find traditions to protect ourselves against such natural disasters. But the Lucas famine was no natural disaster. It was a man-made scheme, no matter how hard the city tries to deny it. Lucas do not suddenly become magic resistant and drain the life out of able-bodied druids under normal circumstances. There's someone behind this atrocity, and I will bring them to justice. May's voice shook with cold, unconcealed rage. It was a little intimidating, but Barnaby could not help but feel moved by this young noble's passing. She gulped and looked up. Your dedication to justice is most admirable, Lady Osmia. I would be honored to aid you on your quest. Are there any suspects you have in mind that I should be wary of? May's eyes narrowed. I'm glad you asked. Forgive my wild speculation, but the following are my honest thoughts on the matter. Do you know that Queen Tabitha has been ill for the majority of her reign? It was so severe that many believe she should have perished a decade ago. Strangely, immediately after the famine where scores of my countrymen fell to life-draining locusts, the royal family happily announced that the Queen's diseases had gone into remission. I was still a child at the time and thought little of it, but looking back, the time is most curious. Barnaby felt her stomach drop. You cannot mean to accuse the royal family of mass murder. That must be some sort of coincidence. I accuse nothing. My life's mission is to find the source of the locust famine and bring the perpetrators to justice. I owe my family that much, and if it's revealed that my suspicions are incorrect, I will happily shift my focus elsewhere. But it would be irresponsible of me to brush aside promising leads simply because it may offend the monarchy. May's gaze hardened. Barnaby had to fight the urge to take a step back from the noble's intense glare. As a noble knight of justice, can I count on your support in this endeavor? Was the creator's chosen simply another meaningless title? Those words hit Barnaby harder than she was willing to admit. She froze for a moment before bowing deeply. Of course not. It is my duty to defend my people against all evils of the world. Rest assured, Lady Osmia, that you will have my full cooperation in your investigation. That is a relief to hear. You, too, will have House Osmia's full support in your search for the royal family's missing rubies. I suspect our missions will inevitably cross paths as we near our goals. The noble bowed her head. Thank you for lending your ear, Lady Gantier. You are dismissed. Barnaby nodded before quickly dismissing herself and made her way back to her viewing booth. Her mind was racing as she anxiously pondered what in the world she had just gotten herself into. The western wing of the sporting arena was packed with about 100 or so brawlers readying themselves for the tournament. Reinier impatiently shoved his way through this crowd of soon-to-be opponents while munching down on a basket of cheesy bread. Where in the world was the fucking badger? He better not have gotten cold feet. Pirates will collect their dues one way or another. Not that he was a pirate or anything. His precious iron tail was an honest security vessel. Reinier growled and took another massive chomp of his cheesy bread. Fuck, this shit is good. He made a mental note to track down the cheesemaker and buy an entire bulk of this stuff for their next sailing trip. Of course, he had to buy all that beer and rum that his crew demanded in. I need to get all my money back first. Where the hell's that little fucker? If he ran off, I'm going to grill his craven ass away. The orca pirate rounded a corner and froze. Well, he found the guy he was looking for. Reinier didn't expect to find him sobbing quietly on the ground while polishing his halberd blade with wax, though. The sight of this hulking badger softly sniffling while wielding a weapon big enough to decapitate several men was comical, to say the least. The fuck are you crying about? Huh? Oh, it's you. The hell happened? You look like someone dumped your favorite goldfish down the prairie or something. Some stuff happened a little while ago. The bastard adjusted his glasses in a poor attempt to hide his tears. Sorry, I'm just feeling kinda silly right now. Whatever it is, you better pull yourself together. I can't trust sniffling Guppy to watch my back in a fight. What? Did that fopper's noble brat say mean things here or something? Reinier Watts said with a scowl. The boy didn't even look up at him as he continued waxing his blade. He kind of dug through my brain with magic and spilled all my deepest petty doubts and my funds. It's not a great feeling. Sid sighed and curled up on the grass. It's a miracle they didn't just leave me. And Artemis just single-handedly crushed the jousting tournament. Why did they even keep me around? Maybe I should just quit while I'm ahead. Oh. Reinier immediately smacked him across his head with his bread basket. Sid yelled as steaming hot cheese ran down his face and stung at his eyes. What kind of silly attitude is that? Your crew stuck their necks out for you, and this is how you repay them. Reinier fumed furiously as he watched the badger struggle to wipe the dripping cheese from his eyes. The remainder of his bread was scratched across the grassy field, already attracting an army of ants. What a waste. He made a mental note to add cheesy bread onto the lad's growing list of debts. But, well, they don't really need me at this point. Artemis can probably handle whatever with dumbass. When I go recruiting folks for myself, you think I go, oh, we already got one decent deckhead. We're good. Of course fucking not. It takes more than one man to sell a sip. Everyone's got a job to fill. Sure, one of them fucks up occasionally and the other's gotta put an extra elbow grease, but that's all part of being a crew, ain't it? Today you, tomorrow me. That's my master used to say. But Sid opened his mouth to retort, but was met with a fist full of floor bread stuffed down his throat. No buts. Get your sorry head out of your ass and whip yourself into gear. People are gonna need you to play your part when the time comes. Like me. 'Cause you owe me a handsome load of money, you're gonna have to carry your own weight in this damn brawl. Sid struggled to chew down this muzzle full of bread before letting out a quiet sigh. He retracted his halberd, striking it down with a sharp metallic ting. Reinier eyed the weapon with surprise but said nothing. This kid's got potential, but he looked like a mess right now. Reinier's voice dipped low as he clapped a hand on the badger's shoulder. No sailor can see the horizon from within a squall. But it's always there for those who keep sailing forward. I think you could use some time outside of your head, yeah? I ain't having to be marinating in dumb thoughts all day. He glanced at the festival viewing tower. I reckon we still got time before the brawl begins. Why don't you go around and chat with some of the competition? I want you back here with your head clear and ready for a fight, boy. I'll try. The boy gave him a non-committal nod before quietly staggering away. Reinier watched his retreating back with a huff. Jeez, it's like looking back in an old mirror. He sighed and scratched his head. Though to be fair, I'm pretty sure I was twice as mopey at his age. Master Ingrid must have had the patience of a saint to have put up with me. Reinier gripped the hilt of his own twin short swords with an air of bittersweet nostalgia. Still, I'm kind of glad for the chance to uphold the tradition of hoisting sad strays back onto their feet. Sid absent-mindedly strolled through the crowd of brawlers with eyes still sore in awe. His soon-to-be opponent sneered at his sniffling face like a pack of predators inspecting their prey. Sid gulped and clutched the shrunken handle and the lanyards anxiously. Did Reinier really expect the two of them to take on this many fighters? There had to be over 100 of them. Maybe this wasn't the best place to clear his head. Ah, good. You are here. Sid jumped with a start. Val's hulking figure was suddenly behind him. The crocodile gave him an appraising look. You're participating in the brawl as well, yes? Hey, Val. Yeah, I kinda owe this pirate money and got dragged into the tournament. Val's eyebrow perked in surprise. Strange. I thought you were planning to attend a brawl of your own volition. Sid's shoulder slumped. Well, yeah, I did at first, but stuff came up. It's complicated. Val watched him with a hint of disappointment. Pity. When we fought in the fighting ring, there was this pharaoh air about you. I saw a fellow warrior who reveled in the raw thrill of battle unchained by obligation or restraint. I was looking forward to facing him in battle once more. Sid frowned defensively. Well, I'm still gonna fight. A warrior with no drive is no warrior at all. I have no interest in fighting a lad being dragged about by the likes of Cody Bonebreaker. A wave of irritation washed over Sid as he glared. Cole's a good man. I get that you got beef with him. He can be a bit of an ass sometimes, but he's still a good-hearted guy who looks out for people. I'm happy to fight for him. I glared at Val heatedly. The crocodile eyed his little outburst with a hint of intrigue. Interesting. If you fight in the brawl with this same ferocity, you may yet be a worthwhile opponent. Good day to you. The crocodile bowed his head slightly before retreating into the crowd. Sid exhaled sharply and rubbed his sore eyes. He didn't mean to stamp like that, but the thought of someone talking down to Cold White after the hyena provoked a public duel in his defense. It made his blood boil slightly. Sid took a deep breath and sighed. It's a shame Cole wouldn't be here to watch this brawl. He wondered where the little guy went at a time like this. Sid? Sid's ears perked up at the familiar voice. Huh, Clyde? Sure enough, the grinning tiger was waving furiously at him from behind the audience fence. Pleasantly surprised, Sid scurried over to his blacksmith friend. What are you doing here? I thought you were busy looking after the shop. Clyde grinned through breathless panting as though he went to the festival on short notice. Heh, I'm surprised too. I was in the middle of myself when an old man showed up out of the blue. He rambled on about how youngins should be enjoying the festivities instead of cooped up in a dusty shop. So here I am. Geez, you sure he's okay? That's pretty quick heart attack recovery. Clyde shrugged. I tried arguing, but he wasn't having it. Not that I'm complaining, though. I'm glad I get the chance to see my baby Nancy. What? Oh, you meant Delanius. The tiger winked. Oh no, you can be my baby too if you want. In all seriousness, though, nobody has ever used Delanius in a real battle either. I'm glad I'm here to witness it. Clyde glanced around the viewing booth curiously. By the way, where's Cole? Huh? He left a little while ago. Said he had some important business to take care of. Clyde's shoulders slumped. Oh, that's a shame. Despite our differences, I figured he'd want to see this too. A bittersweet smile fell across the tiger's face as he stared at Elenius' signing handle. Sid's chest fluttered with sympathy. This was the weapon that caused Clyde his lifelong dream. Yet it was still his pride and joy. Sid couldn't believe he even thought about quitting the tournament. He clutched the weapon with renewed vigor. Hey, look on the bright side. This would be a good chance to show off your weapon to the entire Firefly Festival. The crowds are filled with nobles and craftsmen. Maybe we'll catch their eye and you'll have a chance to kickstart your blacksmithing career again. Clyde sighed skeptically. I love the Lanius, but do you really think people will notice it in this massive brawl of over 100 fighters? Let's be realistic here. I'm just happy to see my life's work being used by a capable wielder. That's all I can hope for, really. Clyde smiled. Still, this has been a fulfilling experience for my little blacksmithing heart. Thanks for convincing me to train you the other day. I appreciate it. Said blatantly confusing. Huh? But you're the one who offered to train me. You even ran out into the street afterwards, remember? Clyde stared at him strangely. What are you talking about? You're the one who came back to my shop yesterday to ask for lessons. You feel alright? But Sid frowned, his head swimming with bewildered thoughts. If that wasn't Clyde yesterday, then who? He froze, his mind slowly putting two and two together. There was only one person who cared deeply enough about the situation and knew the disguised self-spell. He glanced up at Clyde with a dawning realization. Hey, Clyde, what time did old man Soul showed up to take your stuff at the shop? It was about an hour ago. I think it was a little before the jousting tournament. Say my message. That was all the confirmation Sid needed. Cole, you sneaky little hyena had wanted Clyde to teach Sid how to correctly wield the lanius. He wanted Clyde to show up during the tournament when his masterwork weapon would be put to use. The brought of inspiration in Sid's chest flared with a furious rhythmic warmth. Cole had trusted Sid to perform well in the brawl to help reignite his best friend's career. The career that Cole had ruined. To place this amount of trust on somebody like him. Sid suddenly grabbed Clyde by his shoulders with a deadly serious look. Clyde, we're going to get your blacksmithing dream back on track today. Just you watch. Everyone will see the true power in your masterwork weapon, I promise you. Clyde looked taken aback. I appreciate the thought, buddy. But you don't have to take on so much. Sid shook his head furiously. This isn't just for you. This fight is for me, and everyone who has ever put their trust in me. I refuse to let anyone down today. Sid gave Clyde one last steadfast nod before hurrying back towards the Brawler's wing. Sid returned to the spot where Reinier was waiting for him with renewed vigor. The not-pirate caught sight of him and grinned, flashing his sharp teeth. Not a pirate. Now there's some fire in your eyes. I take it you're ready for the brawl. Sid cracked his knuckles with a glare. Of course. We're winning this thing. No exceptions. There's more than gold on the line today. Reinier laughed heartily. Finally, this is the face of someone I can trust with my back on the battlefield. Keep that spark alive, lad. You're gonna need it. The worker stood up and holstered his swords. So how was your little stroll? Do you see any competition that might be a problem? Sid paused for a moment. Honestly, I think we can handle most of them. There's only two of us, so the biggest thing we need to worry about is getting surrounded and outnumbered. Other than that, He jerked his head towards Val in the distance, who was deep in conversation with Clyde. That crocodile there is an experienced brawler. He's going to be a tough one, even if we fight him together. Do you think you can take him? He was interrupted by Reinier, letting out an appreciative whistle as he stared Val up and down. Oh, I can take him, all right. Oh, you mean in a fight? What? Don't look at me like that. I'm allowed to appreciate good-looking men. That talk he's talking to ain't too bad either. Jeez, and I thought Cole was bad. Oh wait, he's coming this way. The orca airboat said and whispered furiously. Do you know he's single? Listen, seduction's actually a solid battle strategy. Val approached the two of them with a small basket of steaming bread in his hands. Sid scratched his head. Where in the world is everyone getting all this cheesy bread? It seemed as though everyone was eating some at this festival. The crocodile-eyed Reinier was suspicious before turning towards Sid. Boy, I have come with a question. Where do your parents work? Sid blinked in surprise. Uh-huh. Oh, we run an inn at the east end of the market district. It's called the Sparrow's Roost. I see. I had the good fortune of purchasing this incredible bread from your family's food stall earlier. I will have to come by for more later. But wait, my family's here? You mean that sweet old bird couple? Yeah, their food's delicious. They've been selling cheesy bread at the other end of the arena since the festival started. They've been here the whole time? But wait, that's close to the viewing booth where I was sitting. Did they hear our little scuffle earlier? Oh God, oh no. Sid scrambled through the crowd to peer across the arena in public. Sure enough, he caught sight of his two tiny parents waving furiously at him from the opposite end of the field. From across the field, Elia elbows her husband as he continued to wave her wings wildly. Oh dear, I think he sees us. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Stay safe out there. Oh, look at our boy, mingling with this big crowd. The little parakeet sniffled and wiped his eyes. He's come a long way since his frog friend days, hasn't he? Elia wrung her arms anxiously as he scanned the crowd in the brawler's wing. Don't get in over your head, dear. Oh, do you think Sid will be alright? There are so many tough-looking fighters this year. Oh, don't worry, sweetheart. I hear he's been doing a lot of training under that buff hyena guy he likes. I'm sure he learned a few tricks. I sure hope so. Eli sighed, still slumped. Suppose I'll have to support him from the sidelines in my own way. Oh boy, here we go. Where did that little noble motherfucker run off to? He thinks he can just mess with my boy and get away with it, eh? I'm gonna end that little shit's entire bloodline. Reinier waved supportively as his wife rampaged through the arena audience with pure bloodlust in her eyes. You get him, hun. But wait, somebody grab my mom and don't let her out of your sight. Did anyone see where that collar guy went? Somebody's gonna get hurt. You mean that little bird lady? Who in their right mind would even think of hurting such a harmless old woman? Shield shook his head with panic. He had half the mind to rush out into the audience, but he didn't want to get disqualified. Oh, it's not my mom I'm worried about. He yelled as Reinier suddenly shoved him aside and eagerly shook Val's hands. Oh, who cares about that? Anyway, the name's Reinier. Pleasure to meet you, mate. Any chance you'll be free after the brawl? I'll be happy to buy you a drink. I mean, right after we win that cash prize, cause I don't got no money right now. Val looked at the orca strangely for a moment before a small smirk formed on his face. Perhaps. I prefer spending my time with fellow men of strength. Like this lad, for instance, he nodded his head towards Sid. If you strike my interest on the battlefield, I'd be happy to get to know you better. The crocodile's massive hand squeezed back in their handshake. Reinier let out a small, giddy squeak. He turned back to Sid with a determined grin. Mate, we gotta win this brawl now. I'm counting on you. Sid squinted. What's happening right now? Let me have this. Okay. I've been stuck at sea for the last 3 weeks. Do you know what an empty bed does to a man? What, are you jealous? Don't worry, lad, I'll buy you a drink too if you want it. What? Sid stared dumbfounded between Rainier's flirtatious wink, Val's approving nod, and Clyde waving enthusiastically at him in the distance. Realization and slight horror slowly dawned across his face. Oh my God, Army was right. This is a harem. As though on cue, Orderby popped her head out from behind the brawling crowd just as the festival horns blew, signaling the start of the brawling tournament. A delighted smile spread across the knight's face as he leaped over the fence and hurried to Sid's side. So Sid, I'm glad I managed to catch you before the fight begins. A mixture of embarrassment and gratefulness fluttered across Sid's chest. Hey Artie, listen, sorry I've been kind of broody lately. Nonsense, there's nothing to apologize for. We are a team. I will happily support you as you have to me. Anyway, I'm here to give you my best wishes for your upcoming brawl. Sid stared blankly as Artemis raised an expectant fist. Why do you stare at me so? This is proper fist bump behavior, is it not? Alright. Sid couldn't help but smile as he gently bumped fists with the knight. She looked pleased with herself, her tail wagging furiously behind her. Excellent, you are now honor bound to perform great violence. I pray your brawl will be a fruitful one. I don't think that's how a fist bump works, Artie. But thanks, I'll do my best. Brawling combatants gathered across the field. Nearly 100 fighters filled the arena, each sizing the other up hungrily. In a glance, it was obvious that some sort of allegiance had formed between the brawlers. Many of them were huddled together in small teams, while others gathered in groups as big as 30. So much for a free-for-all brawl. Sid shuffled nervously next to his orca ally. The two of them were among the smallest of groups. They were only surpassed by Val, who stood alone and unbothered on the other side of the field. Many of the other groups were watching Sid like a pack of predators eyeing fresh meat. He jumped as he felt Reinier pat him on the back. Relax, lad. My master always says that the anticipation for the battle is often worse than the battle itself. Stop overthinking things. Let your adrenaline flow and instincts take over. Inside each of us is a beast willing to be free. Sid scratched his head, his palms sweaty. Keep it together, Cole's counting on you. The bothered inspiration in his chest flickered with a comforting warmth. Sid gripped the handle of his shrunken down halberd as he tried to steady his nervous breath. No excuses, he's going to win this. The crowds grew silent as the festival's announcer voice blared across the arena once again. Now that we are finally back on track with the festival schedule, let us now commence with the annual brawling tournament. Fighters, prepare your weaponry. A wave of furious battle cries waltzed across the field as everyone armed themselves. Sid shuffled closer to Reinier, the hill on his back standing on the end. On your marks. 3, 2, 1. Ah. Oh, for the love of... Where is it now? A shrill, blood-curdling scream reverberated across the arena. Both the audience and brawlers froze, exchanging bewildered looks. Yikes. That sounded like someone being flayed alive. Sid nearly dropped his halberd. Oh, Sid, I forgot. Has anyone seen my mom? Start the tournament. We have to... Absolutely not. I only just managed to waggle our skills are back on track. Whoever's dying will just have to deal with it. So you've been basically getting a new announcer next time. All the brawlers looked at each other and sweat nonchalantly. Right, you can't be serious. Meanwhile, in a secluded area behind the viewing booths, I was quiet save for the sound of breathless panic and scrambling footsteps. Calder crashed through the undergrowth and tumbled onto his face. His heart pounded a mile a minute as he desperately clambered back onto his feet. Words could not describe the terror he felt at this moment. He had to run. Come back, dear. I just wanted to talk. Get away from me, you witch. Anyway, where are we? On your marks. 3, 2, 1. Begin. Chaos immediately ensued as masses of brawlers clashed. Sid yelped as he felt Reinier grab him by the waist, yanking him away from where the fight was thickest. The air was filled with a choir of sharp metallic shrieks as weapons and fists collided. In the distance, Val looked unbothered as he knocked all his opponents aside like flies. Sid gulped and glanced around his immediate proximity. Larger alliances of brawlers grouped up and quickly overtook smaller teams and stragglers with ease. The festival announcer always began blowing his whistle as organizers dragged out the unconscious brawlers who were immediately knocked out. Sid followed Rainier's lead as the orca dragged him toward the edge of the arena. Here's a plan, lad. We're the smallest team in this fucking mess, so let's pace ourselves, yeah? Keep your distance and kite your way through the arena as long as possible. The crowd will thin itself out eventually. I'll take care of all the heavy hitters and keep you safe. Sid saw him a frustrated frown. You don't need to baby me. Several brawlers suddenly charged behind him, brandishing clubs and swords. He scarcely had time to react before Reinier shoved him aside. Get down. The orca's twin sword swords gleamed in the harsh sun. To call Reinier the Fast would be an understatement. A black and white blur shot forward as he brandished the hilt of his blade into the throat of one attacker while kicking another brawler square in the chest. Both assailants fell to the ground, clutching their injuries with ragged gasps. Reinier puffed up his chest with pride. And that's how it's done, lad. You got nothing to worry about. Midway through speaking, another pair of brawlers leaped on him from behind clubs raised. Reinier managed to sidestep the first blow, but the second managed to clobber the orca in the back. He fell to the ground and let out a pain groan. By the time he looked up, both his attackers were already shrinking down on his prone body. Ah, shit. The lanius erupted to its full length, like a speeding bullet, knocking the two brawlers' weapons out of their hands. They scarcely had time to yell in surprise before Sid stepped forward with a second swing. The sheer weight of the lanius being swung at high speed resulted in an impact like that of a charging rhinoceros. Both brawlers were lifted off their feet and thrown across the field like rag dolls. Their crumpled bodies skidded painfully across the grass before slowing to a defeated halt. Sid growled and sought all the other surrounding combatants with a venomous glare. His opponents eyed his massive halberd warily before slowly retreating. Clearly they were hoping for easier prey. As soon as the coast was clear, Sid turned back and offered Reinier a helping hand. The orca stared at him with a strange mixture of surprise and awe. Well then, you ain't too bad, are you, mate? Kid scowled, the frustration in his chest bubbling to the surface. My friend trusted me to win this damn tournament, and I'm going to get this done with or without you. So stop treating me like a goddamn baby. Do you want me to watch your back or not? Reinier stared for several moments before letting out a soft chuckle. Jeez, you're a bit scary when you're angry. Kind of reminds me of someone I know. The worker jumped back onto his feet and readied his twin swords. Fine, I ain't got time to babysit you anyway. Come on, we got some fucking money to win. Reinier flashed his toothy grin before making a mad dash towards the newest group of opponents. That's more like it. Sid drew his weapon. The adrenaline was about to fill his veins as he charged forward alongside Reinier. The next few minutes of the brawl felt like it stretched on for hours. Sweat drenched his brow as Sid knocked aside another gang of fighters through Strange's breath. Luckily, the surging flame of Cole's barter inspiration helped keep his senses sharp. The fight became a strange dance. Groups of brawlers who approached Sid in hopes of an easy fight. He would fend them off with the lanius, its long reach, forcing them to keep their distance as the enemy stumbled back and surprised Reinier swooped in like a sweeping bullet and knocked them out or disarmed them with swift strikes. Slowly, the crowd of brawlers began to thin as more and more of the defeated were dragged out of the arena. Victory was in sight, but they had much more to go. Eventually, the remaining brawlers wisened up and decided to surround both Sid and Reinier in a team effort to take down the biggest threat. The two of them pressed back to back as over 20 opponents cornered them near the northern edge of the arena. Cheers and hyped shouts erupted from the viewing booths as everyone's attention was focused on the two of them. Sid scanned their attention with a frustrated growl. Besides the massive group surrounding them, the only fighters left was Val, who was finishing off the last of the brawlers at the other end of the arena. If he and Reinier could beat this group, the rest of the tournament was as good as won. The workers swore loudly as the brawlers drew closer and closer. These little fuckers are too scared to take us on with fair numbers. We've been doing pretty good so far, but I'm not like our chances here, mate. Sid hated to admit it, but he was right. 2 versus 20 weren't exactly fair numbers. They would have to catch everyone by surprise somehow. And the only way left up his sleeve and the only thing up his sleeve was Sid's grip on the lanius tightened as he turned towards Reinier. Listen, man, can you do me a favor? We need to bait everyone into charging us quickly or at once. Can you drop to the ground and start groveling like a scared kid? What? Fuck nah. I ain't crying like a guppy in front of everyone. How am I supposed to impress that hot quack and woo him into a date? Well, I'm sure Val will be months more impressive if we get tenderized by 20 clubs instead. Come on, dude, want to win that go or not? Take one for the team. Reinier pouted sheepishly. Fine. This better fucking work. Lorca suddenly dropped his sword and swooned to the ground melodramatically. Ooh, no. I'm so scared. Please tell me. Please hold me with your big buff arms, mate. Okay, maybe don't grab my leg while you're doing this. Despite Reinier's horrible acting, their opponents took the bait. At the first sign of weakness, all of them immediately lunged towards Sid and the groveling orca with the triumphant sneers. Sid held steady as he approached. Wait for all of them to get in range. Every last one. Now. The lanius extended to its maximum as Sid swung it in rapid, wide arcs. Taken utterly by surprise, all the opposing brawlers were swept off their feet and flung over the fence. Others were knocked cleanly onto their asses and swept away by a subsequent swing. The crowd looked on in shock as the lanius retracted from its imposing long length back to its normal habit form. Under the silence of the audience, Clyde whooped and hollered in utter delight. That's my baby. Hear him, nor did he pay any attention to the crowd's astonishment. His mind was focused on solely one objective. He had to win. Taking advantage of everyone's startled state, Sid lunged across the field towards the only fighter that was left, Val. Halfway through his leap, Sid lunged the Reinier towards the ground. The halberd extended to its maximum length, once again launching Sid straight into the air. Sid retracted the Reinier with a firm squeeze, leaving himself in a free fall. In one swift motion, he twisted himself midair and swung the halberd back down with the assistance of gravity as he fell upon Val down below. Val managed to block the strike, his knees buckling from the sheer weight of the impact. A sharp crack appeared in his gauntlet. The crocodile grunts from the strain and suits Sid an intrigued look. "You've improved." Before Sid could respond, the crocodile kicked him aside. Sid felt the air leave his lungs as he tumbled across the grass. With barely a moment to collect his thoughts, he rolled out of the way of Val's stomping foot and struggled to return to his feet. Sid's mind raced while he backpedaled from Val's onslaught. The crocodile was more experienced and far exceeded him in terms of endurance. They would have to take him out quickly. "Hang on, I got you, mate." Reinier suddenly sprung behind Val and clung onto his neck for dear life. He yelled as Val snarled and flailed about wildly in an effort to untangle the oracle's grill. "Hey, listen, man. Whoa. I just want to be clear. This whole coward thing earlier was just an act. It was the lad's idea. I ain't no quiet damsel even on my worst days. Get off." Yeah, sure. But I know you've got the hots for tough guys, so I don't want any misconceptions too. While two of them wrestled and twisted about in their mess of limbs, Sid charged forward. He swung the Reinier back down to its sword axe, formed before planting it firmly into the ground at Val's feet. "Sorry, Val. This technically isn't against the rules, so." The Reinier instantly eroded to its maximum length. Its blade hooked onto the leather strap Val was wearing, and then continued extending at full speed. Val let out an indignant yell as he was yanked into the air and dragged past the fences surrounding the arena. The festival announcer blew his whistle sharply. "Out of bounds. This contender is now disqualified." Val groaned and struggled back onto his feet with a glare. He watched as the ridiculous length of the Reinier retreated from where it pierced his harness and returned to its normal size in Sid's hands. "That was a dirty trick, boy. Val must respect the ingenuity." Sid scratched his head sheepishly. "Sorry, man. I'll buy you a drink out of this." Reinier elbowed him with a look of utter betrayal. "Dude, that was supposed to be my date. I mean, go ahead. You can buy as many drinks as you want. We're the only fighters left in the tournament, so we kind of already won the cash prize." "You're welcome, by the way." Reinier blinked and glanced around the field. Was the honky crocodile the last one?" Sure enough, Sid and Reinier were the only ones left standing in the arena. The rest of the brawlers were either hunched over on the ground or being dragged off by the festival staff. I guess this is mission complete, huh?" Reinier flashed a toothy grin and drew his twin swords. "Nah, mate. Glad the money is sorted out, but this crowd is still crying for a winner." Cheers and hollers echo across the arena. Shouts of support for both Sid and Reinier class as a loud chants of "Fight, fight, fight" fill the air. Sid smiled with a tiny hint of pride as he crouched to position with Reinier in hand. "I guess we'll have to give them a good show." "I am surprised how good of a fighter you turned out to be. That fellow battle drunk look on your face is so different from your usual cute stuttering. Kinda hot. By the way, my crew is looking for new hires if you're still interested." "I don't know. Think you can afford me?" Reinier barked out a laugh. "That snark, I like it. Show me what you got, mate." The crowd roared with excitement as the orca dashed towards him, the fight beginning anew. Sid flinched. Reinier was fast, almost like he was swimming across the land. Amber, the orca, was suddenly upon him, swords, clasping against his halberd. Sid quickly realized Reinier was keeping a close distance so he would have no room to extend the lanyards. The halberd's long length was useless if he was too busy defending himself with the handle. If he swung it down to an axe, he'll be easily parried and counterattacked by Rainier's twin swords. Sid yelled as the orca landed several killing blows on him. He was on the defensive, but every time he tried to make space, Reinier pressed closer to keep him off balance. Sid's heart was beating rapidly with adrenaline and pulses of border inspiration. It was an unrelenting joy to be swept into the flow of battle. Far from being irritated, Sid was utterly thrilled. He retracted his weapon and aimed a kick at Reinier, who swiftly dodged to the side. Sid re-extended the lanyards and swung it at full length but missed wildly. Ha! That's all he got me. Yeah. Reinier stumbled back in surprise at a scrap of blue cloth hanging from the lanyards draped across his face, obscuring his view. As he fell backwards, Sid struck a solid punch to his stomach. All the air rushed out of Reinier's lungs as he fell to the ground. Even then, he lashed out with his sword in the last-ditch attempt to strike back. The tip of his blade narrowly missed Sid's face and knocked the bezel glasses into the air. Sid snarled and leaped onto the orca, pinning him down with his knees. Reinier gasped for breath as he looked up at the badger's dark silhouette that towered over him against the bright blue sky. His eyes widened. Time seemed to slow as he took in the sight of Sid's furious face above him. I knew you reminded me of someone. It's been a long time since I've seen that face. Mel's a beast. What have you done? The realization had barely fluttered through Rainier's mind before Sid brought his halberd down upon him. The blade planted into the ground, inches above his head. Reinier blinked. The shrill cry of the festival horn blasted through the air as the crowds went wild. And there we have it, the winner of this year's Firefly Brawl. Loud cheers and applause filled the stadium. Sid stumbled off of Reinier's chest and scrambled to find his glasses in the grass. As the two of them collected themselves, Sid saw him a baffled look. Why do you let me win? You could have thrown me off and rolled away easily. Still in that daze, Reinier stared at the badger's face blankly. He looked so different when wearing those goofy glasses. All traces of feral savagery was gone as Sid pouted at him indignantly. Reinier shook his head to clear his thoughts. Nah, man, I just got distracted. You won this fight fair and square. They were interrupted again by the festival's announced a shrill voice. Congratulations, Sir Sid Strikewood. Please head up to the view tower to claim your winnings. Before you do so, however, do you have any parting words for your adoring crowd? The entirety of the arena filled with jubilant cheers and everyone watched him expect. Sid suddenly jumped to his feet. Wait, this is what I was waiting for. He made a mad dash towards the audience and grabbed a very surprised Clyde before dragging him to the center of the arena. Hey man, what do you think you're doing? Sid unsheathed the lanyards and planted it triumphantly into the ground. The masterwork weapons, blue cloth, sailed in the wind like a proud flag of victory. At the same time, Sid held Clyde's hand despite his flustered protest and raised it high in the air. Ladies and gentlemen of the Firefly Festival, I humbly thank you all for your support, however. I am but an ordinary adventurer who is unworthy of such praise. I wouldn't have stood a chance if it weren't for this masterwork weapon made by the honored blacksmith Clyde. Clyde's eyes widened into dinner plates. His cheeks flushed red as he hid sheepishly behind Sid against the curious crowd. I'm sure you have all seen firsthand the quality and craftsmanship of Sir Bessemer's creations. My good friend is trying to restore his blacksmithing career, so give him a gander at Soul's arcane workshop in the Market District if you're interested in quality works. I guarantee you will find no greater blacksmith in the entirety of Axia. The crowd whispered to each other with interest as a small round of applause filled the arena. A few of the nobles in the viewing tower gave both Clyde and Elenius intrigued looks. Sid felt Clyde grip his hand tightly. He glanced over to see the tiger's face overwhelmed with emotion. His blacksmith's shoulders shook as he took in the crowd's approving smiles, tears welling up at the ears of his eyes. For the first time in forever, there was a glimmer of hope in the tiger's voice. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Sid smiled and patted his friend gently on the back. Don't thank me. Cole was the one who set this all up. Clyde blinked in surprise as he wiped the tears from his eyes. Dee now. He always was a sly little brat. Sid grinned. His chest fluttered with warmth and pride alongside the remains of Cole's border inspiration like a roaring flame. To be trusted with such an important and impersonal task, Sid made a mental note to thank the little guy later. The festivities were slowly dying down as Sid and Reinier collected their winnings from House Osmia. As agreed, the two of them split the cash prize evenly. Reinier had clutched his half of the earnings with glee and quickly ran across the crowd towards a certain crocodile in the distance. I still owe you a drink too, laddie, the crocodile yelled before leaving. Join us at the bottomless pit at Washington Red's Alley tonight if you're free. There should still be plenty of fun and celebrations to go around. Sid had politely declined, though a part of him was at least a little curious about the city's most infamous gay bar. He quietly made his way back to his viewing booth. In instance, he stepped aside. Sid was instantly swarmed by his parents and a delighted ornament. So Sid, absolutely stunning performance out there. Oh, look at how much he's grown. I gotta whip up a big dinner tonight to celebrate. Sid's cheeks felt warm as he sheepishly scratched his head. Thanks, guys. Oh, sweetheart, I was so worried. Oh, you heard it all? Did anyone say anything mean to you while you were out there? They said they weren't. I'll give them a firm talking to. Mom, I'm fine. Speaking of which, what did you do earlier? By the way, I've got a very special present for you to commemorate your tournament victory today. Sid watched in utter bewilderment as his mother handed him a single ragged boot. One boot? It's a boot with a lot of sentimental value. I'll assure you it took a lot of effort to get my hands on this. Mom, where's that collar guy? Suffering as he should be. Sid squinted between his mother's pleased expression and the single boot in his hand. He let out a deep, tired sigh. Mom, you promised that you'd stop polymorphing my bullies into household objects. This little fucker deserves worse. Sid held out the boot with a stern look. Come on, Mom, send him back. Elia sighed and rubbed her temples. I just don't understand how you grew up to be such a sweet and gentle soul. Isn't there at least a tiny part of you that balance? When I was your age, I was beating down hooligans left and right. Kinda, but Cole and Ornaby already beat the guy half to death, so I'm good for now. Ornaby perked up and raised her hand for a splendid fist bump. I would be happy to perform violence once more, should you require it. No violence. Just change the poor guy back before he decides to file a lawsuit or something. Mom! Elia plucked the boot out of Sid's grip and tossed it carelessly over her shoulder. For a tiny old lady, she had a very strong throwing arm. Sid watched in horror as the collar boot sailed over their booth, rolling down the street and out of the side. Polymorph lasts for an hour. We can just leave him there and let him ride it out. Sid gaped, flabbergasted. There was no stopping his mother once she set her mind on something. Here, Mom, take my 5,000 gold winnings. I'm paying you to never do that again. No, no, no. Keep your winnings and share them with your friends. You know that no amount of bribery will stop me from tormenting your bullies. Mom, not now, dear. Your father and I have to go back to man our cheesy bread stall. We'll see you back at home tonight. Come on, Lynette. Sid watched helplessly as his parents fluttered off without listening to a word he said. Your parents are very sweet. Terrifying. The word you're looking for is terrifying. Hey, you can cast Dispel Magic, right? Can you go free the coward guy from his boot prison? Barnaby scratched her chin for a moment before shaking her head. Polymorph is a 4th level spell, while Dispel Magic is a mere 3rd level. Undoing Miss Strikewood's spell will take great effort on my part. But you can do it, right? Nope. No, you can't. Or no, you don't want to. Yes, Sid brought his face to his hands with a groan. There's no use arguing, he supposed. He scratched his head and held up his big sack of gold coins. Well, now that business is all finished up, do you want to go get more food or visit more festival game stalls? We got some time to kill before Cole comes back. Game stalls sound like an excellent idea. Your valiant efforts in the brawl deserve to be celebrated, and I could use some recreation after my very short joust. Army pouted. It's a shame Cole didn't stay to watch either of our tournaments. I had expected more from our so-called team leader. What are you smiling about? Sid chuckled and pressed her hand against his chest. Since the end of the tournament, he has been feeling lighter, like an anxious weight had been taken off his shoulders. Cole's border inspiration continued humming within him like a gentle, comforting flame. Oh, I'm just in a good mood, that's all. We should really cut Cole some slack. He's always keeping an eye out for us, even if we don't realize it. Ought to be let out in a amused skull. How strange. I constantly feel like we're the ones keeping an eye on him. It goes both ways, right? It's all part of being a crew. So blinked. His first suddenly stood at an end. Does everything feel like super stackety all of a sudden? The air suddenly cracked and split with the ear-shattering sound of a distant explosion. It was as though a massive bolt of lightning had erupted from the sky and struck a part of the city. The ground shook and people scrambled to cover their ears. In the city skyline, a massive cloud of debris and dust billowed from a street several blocks away. It looked like a bomb had gone off. The air was thick with the smell of dust and burning smoke. Everyone's heads turned as a distressed messenger scrambled through the arena in the direction of the viewing tower. Through ragged breaths, the messenger shouted as loud as his lungs could handle. Trouble in the market district. Everyone's attention fixed curiously on this panicking messenger who was desperately screaming for the festival organizers' aid. Mass of people suddenly fainted out of nowhere. The streets are literally filled with crowds of unconscious folk, and worse yet, there seems to be people fighting. What in the world was that? Are you okay? He turned towards his companion. He was staring up with horror. That explosion. I recognized that magic. My magic. It was like someone set off a dozen thunder waves at once. His eyes widened. He felt his stomach drop as he took in the sight of the towering smoke in the distance. That's around where Clyde's shop is. Sid suddenly felt his chest grow cold as Cole's bardic inspiration flickered out and extinguished. He and Ornaby exchanged terrified looks before bolting in the direction of those arcane curiosities. I gotta stop right here. Oh Alright, so something big has happened. We'll find out next time. Alright, so on me used to cut Cole some slack, but C2 is really being dismissive of Cole in the way he's been leading the adventuring team. So, I mean, both of them are kind of starting to get really down on. They're really starting to have more negative views of Cole, but especially Artemis. And she's usually very optimistic about, stuff, but even she is being pessimistic about Cole. So anyway, the Brawling tournament happened in Sid and Reinier won. We got to see Vol fight, and we just happened to see all three of them fight. There was fights of all three of them in the match, so I was happy that there were fights made that showed them fighting, because those fights, those CGs, because CGs, I'm happy that the CGs were made showing all of them fighting, because CGs, I know it takes a long time for people to make CGs, and a lot of people just decide not to do CGs much because it takes a lot to make CGs, and paying the people to make them. But CGs do give you a very good idea what's actually happening. Reading the text alone doesn't really convey what's really happening. You gotta actually see it also. So I like that CG with Vo and Reinier holding him. Vo looked kind of chubby there in the stomach, which I like chubby characters. And plus, that's a pretty good half. As a warrior, you don't want to be too whipped. You got some fat to shield yourself from if somebody stabs you or pokes you or something. So everything worked out between Sid and Reinier, and Reinier seems to have a crush on Vo, and Vo might be interested. So we'll have to see what happens with those two. And what else? So both Sid and Artemis won their tournaments. So everything worked out as far as the Firefly Festival. And it's very nice that Sid gave Clyde the credit for his win, for the weapon that Sid made, that Sid used in the tournament, and that really made Clyde very emotional. For somebody to give him credit in front of the public, for the success in the fighting ring, it really made Clyde. It really made Clyde emotional. So that was nice of Sid to do that for Clyde. And I really like Sid's mother very much. Sid, even though he kind of scolds his mother for going too far with bullying, I actually like it that she's very, very protective of those that bully him. And I like it that he turned Sanity into a boot. And despite how horrible Calder has been to Sid, he still doesn't want to see him be a boot for very much longer. He wants him turned back right away. However, the power doesn't wear off for an hour, but personally, I'd rather see him as a boot. Just let the power wear off itself he'll change back eventually. I don't think Oliver should have to spend so much time trying to change someone like Carla back to their regular selves. It's not be a boot. So yeah, so thank you all very much for watching. We'll see what's going on in the market district next time. Goodbye.